Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. So it seems that AGS is getting an early start this time for the May PTR. Earlier today the notes were posted, and I thought we could take a look at what's in store together. So the public test run will be open today at 1 PM in your local time zone, with the client becoming available at the same time. And this one is a big one with a ton of new content. With this PTR release, they are rolling out a new mutator for an existing expedition, the Depths. Return to the Depths and face a brand new challenge for endgame rewards. The Depths is now part of the weekly expedition mutator rotation. In addition, 3 new mutation types have been added to the pool for a total of 27 new combinations. The new ones are Overgrown, focuses on nature damage and resistance. Overgrown adds effects like Toxic, a pool which tracks down players, and Compost, which turns trash into healing areas for their allies. Barbaric focuses on physical damage, adds Berserk, an Enrage effect, and Shattering, which deals stamina damage. Fiendish curses focus on the Nocturnal. Fiendish adds Weary, which will weaken players with a rend and make them vulnerable with a slow, and Blood Offering, which stacks damage over time. It will be interesting to see how they properly tune this one to work with level 60, so I think honestly it is important for everyone to get on the PTR and try this one out, so we can be sure that it gets ironed out before it goes live. Next up for this PTR is player versus player reward tracks. Players can earn both of these currency types by engaging in PvP related activities, such as wars, outpost rush, 3v3 arenas and PvP missions, PvP open world kills, and fort captures. Bonus Azos Salt will also be granted for earning XP while flagged for PvP. Work your way up the rewards track by earning PvP XP. At each of the 3 notches, 3 rewards will be drawn from a pool, where you get to select and purchase one of the offered using your Azos Salt. When you get to the 3rd notch, where the best rewards can also be found, you will be ready to level up. This will either happen automatically on purchase of your 3rd reward or manually selected option. If choosing to purchase less than the maximum 3 rewards, you will be given some compensation salt to add to your balance for the next time around. With each track rotation, your PvP rank will rise by 1. Hitting rank milestones will see more exclusive reward content unlocked, as well as granting you achievements and titles. This is a pretty interesting one, and I will be testing this quite a lot during the PTR. I'm wondering how exactly the random drawing of potential rewards will work exactly, but overall it does sound good. And next up is the 3v3 player versus player arenas. Step into the arena and test yourself against other combatants. 3v3 arenas are a small-scale PvP game mode where teams of 3 can face off for fame, glory, and riches, plus a few unique housing items. Each arena match is a best-of-5 contest. Fight to be the first team to win 3 rounds and secure the match for your team. Rounds are 2 minutes long, but if the battle lingers, a deadly ring of fire will push players to the center of the arena, forcing combatants to engage or die. Players level 20 and above can queue for 3v3 arenas by opening the Modes menu, allowing on-demand PvP gameplay from anywhere in Eternum. If players need a brief introduction to what the arena is, they can speak to the fight promoter Maximus Marcellus in Everfall. Okay guys, this is amazing. They have unlocked it so anyone level 20 plus can take part in these, so players max level or players just coming up can both compete. I think this will be big to encourage new people to play, or people who got bored and never hit 60 to return, because it will give them something fun and exciting to do as they level. And next, the combat tuning. In this PTR cycle, we'll be trying out a handful of combat changes in a few different areas. We're updating equip load bonuses to bring heavy armor healers in line with the other builds, adding a small delay to stamina regen after a dodge, and finally making some sweeping changes to the bow, movement, and firing options, with the aim of smoothing out the gameplay experience. Some of these include melee attack homing, update to homing on primary attacks for melee weapons. They should now be able to hit moving targets more consistently. Dodges, roots, and slows. Dodging is now allowed while rooted. The player will not move while rooted, but they will have invulnerability frames. Being slowed will now affect the movement of your dodge. If you are slowed and you dodge, you will now have less distance based on the power of the slow. Ice Shower, Ice Storm, and Gravity Well no longer disable dodging. For some of the weapon changes, for the Blunderbuss, they adjusted the dodge buffer window for the ADS firing animation to be more consistent with other firing animations. The Blunderbuss charges now show correctly when firing while obstructed and returns to the normal reticle. Fixed an issue where the player could become unresponsive if they tried to aim and go prone with the blunderbuss at the same time. The Azoth Bomb fixed a typo in the ability description. For Barb Netting, the ability visuals and description have been updated to make it clear that the debuff being applied is bleeding and not poison. Freedom. This upgrade speed bonus no longer decays over time. Its duration was reduced from 3 seconds to 2 seconds to compensate. Future Planning. The passive now triggers per mortar charge shot instead of on activation. Mortar Charge. Fixed an issue where this ability was incrementing the Blood Offering curse in Mutators too many times in a single use. And Mortar Charge again. Fixed an issue where the visual effects from the skill could disappear permanently. Splitting Grenade. Fixed an issue which caused a desync when moving immediately after using the ability. And for Splitting Grenade again, fixed an issue where critical hits from the ability would not deal additional damage. For the bow, they reduced recovery on basic attacks. Fixed ability cancels and basic attacks. Increased projectile radius on all attacks except penetrating shot. Added cancel window to weapon readying animations. Players can now sprint cancel when lowering the weapon. Added missing cancel buffers when lowering weapons. Poison shot and penetrating shot now use the same fire cancel inputs as Rain of Arrows. Reduced hipfire startup and recovery, and increased the move speed while hipfiring from 1.65 to 2.25. Reduced hipfire multiplier from 0.8 to 0.6. Reduced charge shot damage multiplier from 1.7 to 1.5. Reduced charge time and recovery for charge shots. Reduce the power of the bow's aim true passive from 30% to 10%. So overall, this is sort of sounding like some bow nerfs, not really some bow buffs like we were all expecting. For the Fire Staff, Burnout fixed an issue which caused a desync when moving immediately after using the ability. For Meteor Shower, increased casing range from 15 meters to 20 meters. For Meteor Shower again, they increased the damage from 20 to 25% weapon damage. For Judgment of Helios, they increased the damage from 25 to 30% weapon damage. And for Pillar of Fire, the ability now allows movement during casting animation. For the Great Axe, the Whirlwind increased the base movement speed while spinning from 3 to 3.5. For Gusting Winds, they increased the speed from 50% to 100%, and they fixed an issue where the upgrade names Gusting Winds, Speed Upgrade, and Unending Winds, More Spins, were swapped. For the Hatchet, Berserking Purge fixed an issue where the upgrade would not properly remove stunts if used too soon after the stun was applied. For the Ice Gauntlet, Ice Storm fixed an issue that caused this ability to go on cooldown when the spell was interrupted during an aim mode. For the Ice Pylon, the damage increased from 50 to 75%. For the Ice Pylon again, the health increased from 12% to 20%. And for Ice Shower, updated the tooltip for this ability to include the cooldown on the reapplication of the root effect. For the Life Staff, they fixed an issue with light attacks canceling healing targets when Sticky Lock is enabled. They fixed an issue that caused targeting healing to attempt to lock onto targets beyond the range of the healing spells. They cleaned up the animations and fixed the missing visuals and sounds when healing themselves. Targeted heals. These abilities now allow movement while casting. Light's Embrace increased cast time to 1 second. Light's Embrace again reduced the bonus healing per buff from 30% to 15%. For the Musket, fixed an issue where the impact effects for a musket may have played even if the server invalidated a client shot. Hit Your Mark passive updated the description to clarify that this passive only works for standard musket shots and not for the overloaded shots. Marksman passive fixed an issue where overloaded shots would not count toward the number of consecutive hits. Shooter Stance fixed an issue where the musket would fire unintentionally in the shooter stance with the tactical reload passive. For Sticky Bomb, fixed an issue where the bomb would disappear without detonating when it attached to an object that were destroyed. For Sticky Bomb again, fixed an issue where the musket was not being removed from the player's hand while he was holding a sticky bomb. For Powder Burn, fixed an issue where attempting to fire a powder burn while prone would fire Power Shot instead. For Trap, cleaned up several visual aspects for better readability and effect matching. Increased the model size of traps in order to make them more visible and to match the size of the trigger volume. For the Rapier, Tondo increased bleed damage from 7 to 10%. Riposte fixed an issue where the riposte could trigger by abilities from players that had AoE taunt active. For the Spear, Deadly Consistency fixed an issue where the perks that deal extra damage like Keenly Jagged and Chain could reset the hit count for the passive. Increased hit shape sizes for basic attacks, Skewer, Perforate, and Coup de Grace. Increased homing on Coup de Grace. For the Sword and Shield, Leaping Strike fixed an issue where this ability was triggering 2 stacks of the Blood Offering Mutator effect. For the Void Gauntlet, Refreshing Frailty added a 5 hit cap attack on cooldown reduction. Refreshing Precision reduced the cooldown reduction from 10 to 5%, added a 5 hit cap per attack on cooldown reduction. For the Void Blade, reduced the block stamina damage multiplier from the Void Blade heavy attack from 2 to 1.5 seconds. Increased Scream Root duration from 1 second to 2 seconds. And for the Warhammer, Path of Destiny Fixed an issue where crits were not dealing increased damage. Reduced damage on non-crits from 110% to 100% to account for additional damage from crits. And this is only scratching the surface for this section. I apologize for it being so long, but there is a lot. And next up, they added episode 2 of the Varangian Knight saga. This is a continuation of the Varangian Knight storyline. Resume the story of the Varangian Knights and their conquest for power. Players will encounter 4 new enemies in this episode: the Crusher, the Spearman, the Hound, and the Mage. The episode 2 starting quest is granted by Abigail Rose, just outside of New Vegarian Camp at Sorcerer's Delve in Everfall, recommended for players level 25 to 30. So these are the big things this PTR is focusing on, but they have also addressed things across almost every aspect of the game. I will be on the PTR a ton this month, and I will be sure to let you know about anything I find and the results of my testing. This is overall a big one. The stuff covered here was simply the big main things that they wanted to talk about. There are hundreds of quality of life changes, improvements, bug fixes, visual effects fixes, and more. So if any of this interests you at that level, be sure to check out the notes. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.